Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, there's some bittersweet news today for the family of Anita Rose. Do you remember this lady? We've been covering her case. She took her dog Bruce for a walk, like we do every day, lots of us do every day, and she never came home. She was brutally attacked and could not survive her injuries. And the good news, the bittersweet news, if you like, is that her assailant, he has been found guilty of her murder. So that's one hurdle out of the way for this family. We don't know the sentencing yet, but the judge has told him to prepare himself, for a long sentence. And let's hope he means it, because so often we don't get a long sentence, do we? Or families, etc., don't get such a long sentence in these cases. We'll see. But anyway, let's just have a recap over the story of Anita and her last day on this planet. Though I do believe she died in hospital. She wasn't dead at the scene, but her injuries were so severe she could not survive them. And she's left behind a partner, children, grandchildren. She was very much loved. And we're going to hear about Anita, what kind of person she was. And yet again, one of those people, one of those lovely people that the world needs and the world has lost because of a horrible person. This is Anita with her partner. Another picture of her. Another picture, it seems to be some sort of celebration there. She's got a sash on. I don't know if she was, looks like birthday girl. I don't know whether she looks very happy there or not. But, birthdays as you get older, they don't get so welcome, do they? Anyway, this is the twonk who did it. And the injury, the added injury to this case is this man was on the run. He was living under the radar. He was wanted. And he should have been caught. And if he had been caught, Anita Rose would be still walking her dog Bruce every morning. Okay, so let's have a look at this article that explains it all. And I mean, it is a relief, but we know from the cases we've covered how bittersweet it is. It's so good that he's been found guilty, but it does not bring Anita back, does it? Let's just listen to this first and then I'll read the article.
Brantham was a place Anita Rose had always felt very safe in. She was very much loved, mother of 6 and a grandmother of 13, and a sporty one at that. She could walk up to 30,000 steps a day and was often up early in the morning to walk her dog Bruce. On the 24th of July, Anita left her home just after 5 a.m. and walked out of the village across the fields towards the shoreline before heading back. Anita liked to be up before others were around to watch the sunrise, but that morning she wasn't alone. 20 minutes after Anita walked down to New Mill Lane, Roy Barclay was seen heading in the same direction. Less than an hour after that, Anita was found with traumatic head injuries next to the Brantham sewage works. Roy Barclay was on the run from the authorities and had been for 2 years. But on that morning of the 24th of July, he'd come here to the sewage works to use the washroom, and he was seen by Anita Rose. He then violently attacked her.
I'm Emma Davis and I'm the Chief Crown Prosecutor for the East of England. So this was an unprovoked, senseless attack. Those injuries were akin to a serious head-on car crash. She sustained injuries to her head, her torso and her face, and ultimately died a few days later as a consequence.
First tonight, the latest on the murder investigation.
A new appeal is being made to try to find...
While Suffolk Constabulary was carrying out one of the largest investigations in its history, Barclay was following every twist of it on his phone. He had an extraordinary interest in the news reports and would regularly use the internet to ask questions such as, how long does DNA last at a crime scene? He hid in a camp under the Orwell Bridge, and another less than a mile from where he attacked Anita. And there he kept her phone, her jacket, and earphones. In an attempt to fool the police and shift the blame, he ditched Anita's phone in Ipswich town centre.
Roy Barclay was a calculated, cunning individual. He changed his appearance to evade justice. He was spoken to by an officer a few days before he was arrested, giving false details to that officer, clearly showing that cunning, deceitful nature.
Roy, my name's PC65 Brother from Suffolk and Stavry.
Nearly 3 months after the attack, Barclay was arrested.
Anything you do say, maybe give me evidence. Yeah.
We're going to watch
And this
the arrest.
happened less than a decade after Barclay was sent to prison for a similar attack in Walton-on-the-Naze in Essex. So on the 22nd of February 2015, it was early in the morning, and 82-year-old Leslie Gunfield was walking to his local supermarket to pick up his newspaper with his dog. And he got to here and he saw Roy Barclay leaving this area. And he said to him, "What are you doing? I'm going to call security." At which point Roy Barclay assaulted him. Mr. Gunfield survived that attack, but Barclay was released after 5 years. And when he broke the conditions of his licence, police failed to catch him, even though he was shopping online, using his bank account, and posting thousands of photos and reviews on Google of places he'd visited across East Anglia. That failure to catch Barclay quickly meant he was free to kill an innocent woman. It's now been almost a year since Anita's death. Rambling roses have been planted at the site where she was killed, and the pink and white flowers have now started to bloom, a living tribute to a much-loved and much-missed mother, grandmother, and partner.
So, makes you angry, doesn't it? You know, he'd committed a similar attack before on that poor guy. He'd served 5 years, then he got lost in the system. He didn't follow his whatever, I don't know, was he out on licence? Did they say he would have had conditions that he was supposed to meet? Didn't meet them, but he wasn't apprehended. And because of that, you know, Anita is dead. Anita wouldn't be dead if he would have been found, would he? Would she? So, you know, although, as I say, it's cold comfort, if you like, for him to be found guilty, her family, when they found out all the details, they must have been angry. You know, they must have been angry because this is a preventable crime. You know, and you know, he kept this pink jacket. Let's just have a closer look. Yeah. This pink jacket, this distinctive jacket, that's probably what you might remember from the videos that I've done about Anita before. The jacket. He kept that as like a trophy. You know, he's a real piece of work, this guy. Anyway, hopefully he won't be let out again. You know, surely, after already doing one aggressive attack, that's just by luck rather than judgment that the other guy's still alive. And now he's done it and murdered Anita. Surely he's going to get the rest of his life in prison. I mean, to me, that should just be, you know, a no-brainer. Okay, a wanted man who was on the run for 2 years has been found guilty of murdering a woman who was walking with her dog last summer. So, yeah, all this happened last summer. Anita Rose, 57 years old, many years left. A grandma of many grandchildren. They've all lost their grandma. She was found with serious injuries akin to those seen in high-speed motor accidents. You know, that's a real rage in that attack. How could you feel that rage for someone that you didn't even know? You know, normally rage attacks there's a closeness to the victim, isn't there? A real anger, maybe a rage that simmered over years. This guy didn't even know this woman. She's just there walking with her dog. How could he get so angry with her? So she was found on a footpath in Brantham, Suffolk, at 6:25 on Wednesday, the 24th of July. Now, for those of you who don't know where Brantham is, let's have a look. We have looked at it on previous videos. It's in the UK, for those of you who are outside the UK, and it's in the south of the UK, more or less. Here we go, let's have a look. Brantham, so most people know where London is, so if I can show you, oh, it's not in the south, is it? Just shows you how good my, oh, it is in the south, but it's sort of, what would you call, my everybody knows my geography is terrible. I've lost it now. Near Ipswich, is it? Let me just refresh the page. Brantham. Suffolk, it's in Suffolk, near Colchester, Ipswich. Southend-on-Sea down here, and London's over here, so it's away from London. Yeah, it's not an area I know at all. I do not know this area whatsoever. I know some parts of London. Well, it's not that far from Cambridge. I remember that coming up before because one of our chatters, lives in Cambridge. So yeah, here it is. Tiny place, really. And Anita would feel safe. She was walking Bruce every morning, early hours of the morning. Never thought that she wasn't safe. Of course, you are never safe anywhere, are you? I mean, it's awful, really. So, Miss Rose, whose dog Bruce had his lead wrapped round her leg when they were discovered, died at Addenbrooke's Hospital, Cambridge, 4 days later. I wonder what that sort of means. Did he wrap the lead around her leg so that the dog wouldn't, run off? Was that one bit of, I don't know, just worrying about the dog, that the dog might run off, or did he not want it to run off? Did not want Bruce to run off and get help? Or, who knows why he wrapped that lead around Anita. I mean, it's good because at least Bruce couldn't run away, get lost, get run over or whatever. Just senseless, isn't it? He didn't know her. And he probably could have stole her phone and things like that. He didn't have to attack her quite so violently. Or maybe she put up a big fight. Who knows? He knows. Only he knows. So Roy Barclay, 56. Oh, so she died in Addenbrooke's Hospital, Cambridge, 4 days later. Roy Barclay, 56, of no fixed address, denied killing her. Oh, that's even more insult, isn't it? Just what do you mean you denied killing her, you twonk? But a jury at Ipswich Crown Court delivered a unanimous verdict after deliberating for about 2.5 hours. He's due to be sentenced on the 6th of August. So we'll look out for that. We'll look out for that sentencing. So apparently he was of no fixed address. He'd been living in a makeshift camp. So Miss Rose left her house around 5 a.m. and was found less than 2 hours later on a track off Rectory Lane next to the London Ipswich railway line, which overlooks the River Stour estuary. And addressing Barclay, George Martin Levitt said, "You need to prepare yourself for a life sentence for the unnecessary killing of Anita Rose." It was pointless, wasn't it? I mean, he stole things off her, he probably got some money. But really, just nothing spectacular, nothing worth killing somebody for. And so the judge apparently said to him, "It will be a lengthy sentence, and you need to prepare yourself for that." A lengthy sentence. God, I hope so. Anyway, he was emotionless as the verdict was returned, but Miss Rose's partner of 13 years, Richard Jones, broke down in tears when he left the courtroom. Sorry, it's making me emotional. Let's have a look at him. Now, he's lost his partner of 13 years. Mr. Jones previously told the court how the last time he spoke to her was on the morning of her murder, and the lorry driver's final conversation with her ended with her saying, "Okay, babe, drive safe. I love you." I think this is his arrest. Let's have a look at it.
This is the moment Roy Barclay was arrested for the murder of Anita Rose.
Roy, my name's PC65 Brother from Suffolk and Stavry. At this time, I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Anita Rose.
Roy Barclay has been found guilty of murdering grandmother Anita Rose while she was out walking her Brantham in Suffolk.
I mean, he doesn't look like butter would melt, does he? Just like looks like a normal middle-aged guy. Let's look again.
This is the moment Roy Barclay was arrested for the murder of Anita Rose.
Roy, my name's PC65 Brother from Suffolk and Stavry. At this time, I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Anita Rose.
Roy Barclay has been found guilty of murdering grandmother Anita Rose while she was out walking her Brantham in Suffolk in July 2024. This is Anita walking her dog near her home, and this is Barclay on the same stretch 20 minutes later. When Anita Rose spotted him, he brutally attacked her, stomping on her and kicking her repeatedly, and leaving her with injuries she could never recover from. He kept some of her possessions as trophies and watched as the police spent months trying to solve the case. This wasn't the first time Barclay had attacked someone. He was previously in prison for attack on a pensioner in Essex, but was released on licence after 5 years. He broke the conditions of that licence, went on the run from the police, before going on to kill Anita Rose.
I mean, why? Just don't understand why. And, he looks so mild-mannered, doesn't he? I think we should watch this again. I want to see it again.
This is the moment Roy Barclay was arrested for the murder of Anita Rose.
Roy, my name's PC65 Brother from Suffolk and Stavry. At this time, I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Anita Rose.
Roy Barclay has been found guilty of murdering grandmother Anita Rose while she was out walking her Brantham in Suffolk in July 2024. This is Anita walking her dog near her home, and this is Barclay on the same stretch 20 minutes later. When Anita Rose spotted him, he brutally attacked her, stomping on her and kicking her repeatedly, and leaving her with injuries she could never recover from. He kept some of her possessions as trophies and watched as the police spent months trying to solve the case. This wasn't the first time Barclay had attacked someone. He was previously in prison for attack on a pensioner in Essex, but was released on licence after 5 years. He broke the conditions of that licence, went on the run from the police, before going on to kill Anita Rose.
So, yeah, looks like butter wouldn't melt, really, doesn't he? Looks very mild-mannered, just pushed his glasses back on his face, didn't he? Didn't show any emotion. Just never know, do you? Very violent man. So the trial heard he'd been living in a makeshift camp in the area while he was on the run from police for 2 years. And on the day she was discovered, Miss Rose had been subjected to numerous kicks, stamps, and blows to her face, head, and body. His DNA was discovered on her jacket and on the earbuds of her headphones. Prosecutors argued he also kept some of Miss Rose's belongings as trophies. He'd been seen on CCTV in the Brantham area on the morning of the attack. He did accept that. However, his defence questioned whether his presence was of real significance when it was in the area where he kept his clothing and possessions and somewhere he visited regularly. They similarly questioned why he would have kept her possessions after he had viewed Suffolk Police's social media pages and saw that they were interested in finding her missing jacket and phone, which were later recovered. At the time of the attack, he had been wanted on recall to prison, having breached the conditions of his licence, and he had previously been jailed for attacking an 82-year-old man in Walton on the Naze in Essex 10 years ago. So this looks like Anita's family out there. That's her daughter in the middle, Jessica, who gave a statement, and Detective Superintendent Mike Brown. So Miss Rose's daughter, Jessica, spoke with court reporters following the verdict. She described her mother as strong, brave, vibrant woman who enjoyed living in Brantham and felt safe there. We will not forget the wonderful woman she was and the light she brought into everybody's life, she said. She was a wonderful grandmother and mother, and she brought love and happiness to all the people she touched. She was incredibly brave. I'm so incredibly proud of the woman that she was and the legacy that she has left, and it will remain in her children and grandchildren. It's incredibly sad that she will not get to live the life she should, and that she was taken from us so horrifically. She thanked the police, jury and the Brantham community that had supported them, and said an evil that should have been locked away has been able to hide in plain sight. It's hard to put into words how dramatic and horrific this past year has been. Aye, poor Anita and her poor family. So, Detective Superintendent Mike Brown of Suffolk Police said a violent man had been brought to justice. This was a brutal attack on a lone woman on the outskirts of a peaceful village, he said. We may never fully understand the motive behind it, and our thoughts remain firmly with Anita's family. I mean, he just lost the plot, didn't he? He just lost the plot. Just overreacted completely. He probably could have robbed her without doing that to her. But he just took out all his vented frustration, etc. He's probably, it's not nice to live on the run or live rough. But he took it all out on Anita. None of it was her fault. It was his own fault for what he'd done years before. Nicola Pope of the Crown Prosecution Service described the attack on Ms. Rose as savage and an act of terrifying senselessness. As we combed through the evidence collected by police, it became apparent that at almost every turn, Barclay made it his mission to deceive the investigation. He thought he was too cunning to be caught, but today's verdict proves otherwise. And she added she hoped the verdict provided some measure of solace to Miss Rose's friends and family. And we watched that earlier. And yeah, the thing is, it's a cold comfort. That at least he's, off the streets. No, you're not going to hurt anybody else. Well, it may hurt someone in prison, but it's not going to hurt any other innocent women out there walking their dogs. But it's too late for Anita and her family. She's gone. She's been taken in a brutal way. And really, some fault lies to the authorities for not keeping a grasp on him. This is a man that was released after 5 years for a violent attack. People, human beings, they're not respected enough in our society, I think. I'm sure if he would have robbed a bank or done something like that, they would have kept better tabs on him. He's like Mr. Mild-mannered, isn't he? You would walk past him. You would not think for a moment that he could be a threat, would you? It just shows you, the devil comes in many guises. Horrible people and evil, really, which is what it is, evil. It's not always what you think it'll look like. Sometimes it looks like this. Anyway, it is good news. Of course, it is good news that he's been found guilty. It'll be even better news when he gets a really, really long sentence, won't it? Anyway, I just wanted to update you. I hope it's given Anita some peace as well. Maybe she's resting easier now knowing that he's been found guilty. And, you know, poor Anita and her dog. You know, Bruce would be looking for her. That was traumatic for Bruce to go through too. Just a horrible man, isn't he? Horrible man. So, anyway, rest in peace, Anita. You were loved. One thing Anita can always know is she was loved by all her family. And, you know, nobody loves him. Well, I don't know what his family circumstances are, but, you know, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's always these nice people that get taken away. And meantime, these twonks, they're the ones that are left in this world. So now the state has got to pay for him now. So he won't be homeless anymore. He's not homeless. He'll be looked after, duty of care in prison. He's got a roof over his head. He's got food. He's got more than he had when he was living in a camp. God. And whereas Anita, who was like a benefit to the world, she's gone. It doesn't seem fair, does it? Okay, now I'm going to go. But remember to like and subscribe, please. If you found this video interesting, informative, if you like to get catch-ups on these sort of cases that I follow. I always follow them through to the end. I will always give you the end. Now, once he's sentenced, that'll be the last time I'll ever mention his name. Though maybe I'm not saying I'll never mention Anita again. I like to follow these cases through to the end. And, you know, we've had quite a bit of justice this year so far, haven't we? You know, there was Rachel Marin's trial. He was found guilty. We just had Erin Patterson found guilty. There's been quite a few high-profile cases where there's been Richard Allen in the Delphi murders, and we've got Brian Koberger has pled guilty in the Idaho 4. I do like to see justice done. I know it doesn't bring these victims back, but it's a cold comfort, isn't it? Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Thank you for caring about Anita Rose.